With the Minnesota Golden Gophers being the only actual football team worth two poops in the great state of Minnesota, well, TBD how they do against Michigan today, but it has been coming up lately. Will Gophers head coach PJ Fleck take a shot at the NFL? Would his style, would his shtick work in the NFL? That's a big question mark. Or in the National Football League. It's man-sized football. You have to be a hard ass like Bill Belichick. You have to berate. You have to yell. You have to do all that stuff. Or is there room for PJ's brand of rah-rah, sis, boom, bah, family? Forget about me. I love you. Is there room for that in the league? Now, everyone brings up Pete Carroll, right? So whenever you talk about PJ Fleck's upbeat, blah, 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 getting after it, positive attitude, which I love. I think it's great and refreshing. Everyone brings up Pete Carroll. It was like, well, Pete Carroll worked at USC, then worked in the National Football League, sure. But also, Pete was an NFL lifer before he got to USC. I mean, he was not a college coach. He had spent a couple years as like a peon assistant in the college ranks, but he's an NFL guy. I mean, Pete had 15 years in the league, 6 as a position coach, including a couple with the Vikings, by the way, 5 as a defensive coordinator, and 4 as a head coach. He had a winning record over his 1 year with the Jets and 3 years with the Patriots at 33-31. So he's been there, done that, got the t-shirt even before he got to USC and had massive success there. PJ's got 1 year in the league. 1 year as a position coach, 2012, with Greg Schiano and the Bucks before he got the Western Michigan job. So there is a bit of precedent, especially recently, and that is important. David Tepper of the Panthers is a little bit outside the box. So he hired Baylor and Temple's Matt Rule after 7 years of being a college football coach. And Rule only had 1 year as an assistant offensive line coach for the Giants in 2012. So sure, I get it. Also, Tepper gave him like a stupid amount of money. 7 years, $60 million. It's good work if you can get it, right? So the question is right now, could PJ row the boat to the NFL? Let's talk about it. So full disclosure, yeah, I'm not really a Gophers fan. Like even growing up as a kid in the great state of Minnesota, I was just kind of like, Glenn Mason, cool. I did love Marion Barber III. The probably was that a Marion the Barbarian, but it's whatever. But, do live here. It is cool when they succeed. It's awesome. And I do love PJ Fleck. I think that he does have this infectious attitude, and there's getting a lot of excitement around the program for a good reason. But this isn't some sort of maroon and gold glasses outlook. Well, never leave, PJ, blah, blah, blah. So background. PJ Fleck, 39 years old. Now, he was a college receiver at Northern Illinois. So, yeah, Chad Beebe is going to be the next PJ Fleck. You just watch. And then he had a cup of coffee in the National Football League. He was on and off the Niners practice squad for 2 years, so cool. Was a grad assistant at Ohio State under Jim Tressel, and then joined up with the Schianos after some time at his alma mater. He joined Greg Schiano's Rutgers staff before they took on the Bucks job in 2012. Ended up getting the head coaching job after 1 year. Rebuilt a downtrodden Western Michigan team in Kalamazoo. He was the youngest head coach in FBS history, and he eventually led the Broncos to a 13-win season in his 4th year before eventually losing the Cotton Bowl to Wisconsin, that's why I got the Gophers job. Is like Mark Coyle was like, hey, I got to give me a coach that is used to losing to Wisconsin. So cool. They ended up finishing 15th in the AP polls. It's the only time the Broncos in their history had finished the season ranked. So awesome. And then the Gophers shoved all the money at him, got rid of Tracy Claeys. And then he's been great here for the last 3 years, heading into year 4 here in Minneapolis. He's won 2 bowl games. He won 11-2 last year, including a win over number 5 Penn State. It's probably the biggest win in the Gophers' history since the upset at Penn State, the Dan Nystrom game. Finished 10th in the AP polls, highest finish since 1962. 1962. So, pros PJ Fleck, dude's a winner. His programs have improved every single season, both in record as well as in recruiting and momentum. He got Rashad Bateman, who will be a first-round pick. He might be the second wide receiver taken in the draft coming up. Bateman was a 4-star recruit coming out of Georgia, and he got him to come to Minnesota. Well, I mean, Gophers not used to getting 4-star recruits, not used to getting kids from out of state, and especially not the South, especially not Georgia. So that was an amazing get, amazing amazing player. And also, PJ Fleck does deserve a lot of credit because he was a wide receiver by trade, a wide receiver coach as well. And, Corey Davis was the number 5 overall pick coming out of Western Michigan. Like, when's the last time Western Michigan had a day 2 or day 1 pick, let alone a number 5 overall guy? Hasn't worked out in the league, but no. As well as Tyler Johnson, massively overlooked in the draft last year. He's going to do good things with the Bucs, even though Antonio Brown's there now. And then also Bateman is obviously going to be a first-round pick. Plus, Tanner Morgan, the head coach quarterback relationship is the most important, and as well as he got Tanner Morgan coming up from Kentucky. Now, originally he was a Western Michigan recruit, and then he switched over to the Minnesota after PJ got the job done here. And also, we'll forgive that he didn't offer Trey Lance, since Tanner Morgan is going to be the first Gophers quarterback drafted ever. And also, bonus for him, he's an expert delegator. He is. So correct me if I'm wrong. I don't believe he's ever called plays either at Western Michigan or Minnesota. I don't think he's ever taken over or done anything like that. Because it's always been Kirk Ciaroca, who was his offense coordinator for the Broncos and the Gophers before he went Benedict Arnold and joined Penn State. Cool. And then PJ was a position coach before that, so he's never been a coordinator, he's never been a play caller, but he understands the role of a head coach, and that's something that we've been harping against Zimmer for so long, is that if you're bogged down on one side of the ball, you can't see the forest through the trees. You can't get the macro view when you're stuck in the micro view. So Fleck understands that your job as a head coach, you're a manager. You manage the game, and you manage personalities and get them ready to play on Sundays, or in Fleck's case, Saturdays. And also, like we mentioned, he gets that the quarterback-head coach relationship is the most important. Zach Terrell at Western Michigan had a phenomenal career, borderline NFL talent. I think he had a cup of coffee in a training camp somewhere. And then also, of course, Tanner Morgan. Tanner Morgan could be a day 2 pick. But, the question is, could his saccharine sweet, rah-rah, blah-blah attitude work? Everything is awesome. Could that work in the Grizzled National Football League? I think it could. I do think that it could, because Matt Rule coming in, college guy, he's certainly not a hard ass. He's not on PJ Fleck's level, but that college sort of attitude is starting to trickle up to the league. And now, if the team is young, I think it certainly works, and you do have a team like the Vikings, who are one of the youngest in the league. Now, I'm not saying that Fleck should just replace Zimmer. We could talk about that another day, but if he gets a shot at a team in the league, sure. Is his thing going to work on grown-ass men? Grizzled veterans making $10 million a year on their second and third contract? Probably not. Probably they would not be impressed by that. But also, I think that PJ could adjust his message. I think that PJ understands that talking to 17-year-olds in their parents' living room as you're trying to get them to come up to cold-ass Minnesota, or 18, 19, 20-year-old players is a lot different between 27, 28, 29-year-old pampered millionaires, right? I think he can adjust that. Plus, I think the fact that Fleck did have that 1 year in the NFL as an assistant coach, plus he played in the league for 2 years, I think that will be to his benefit. Plus, guys who don't buy in, if they're not stars, you can just weed them out of your organization. I do think that positivity is ageless. And also, his ability of identifying quarterback and wide receiver talent, which are paramount in today's modern game, especially the way that the rules are starting to change and shift more and more to benefit the offense, I think that's important. Plus, he's no slouch when it comes to offensive line talent either. There's probably 2 or 3 draft picks up front, including that 400-pound right tackle, Daniel Falele. He's like Phil Loadholt times 1.5. It's awesome. It's awesome. But the question is, does he have NFL aspirations? Well, notice in this photo when Tanner Morgan signed up with Western Michigan, he does have a Jerome Barty on the shelf in his old office. Yeah. Plus, PJ, he's done a good job here with the Gophers. Traditionally extremely hard to recruit here. Cities are generally tougher than college towns, minus Los Angeles with USC and UCLA. But also, you do have the cold weather. Big Ten is certainly not the draw that it used to be. And Fleck has done a good job at stopping the in-state bleeding. But you are still going to lose local kids to Wisconsin, Iowa, even NDSU. That's going to be a constant threat. Plus, can you consistently beat Wisconsin? Can you actually beat Iowa? Can you ever hang with Ohio State, for the Big Ten title. I mean, one of the reasons why, Jimmy Johnson left a pretty good job at Oklahoma State before he took the Miami job is that he could never beat Barry Switzer in Oklahoma. Ironically, Barry Switzer won a Super Bowl with Jimmy's guys with the Cowboys later, but nah. But sometimes jobs just have a ceiling. And could he be reaching his in Minnesota? Like, is a Big Ten title realistically in the cards here for the Gophers? How about a Rose Bowl? Could they get to the college football playoff? I think it is possible. But I think he may be reaching his upper bounds here in college. And I do think that his approach would work in the NFL. I do think him taking on a CEO role as opposed to being an X's and O's guy would work. Because, I mean, Mark Trestman might be one of the smartest football minds that has been in coaching for a long time, but he failed as a head coach because he's not that guy. He's not a manager. He is a scientist down in the lab with a pen and the pad, not a true leader of men. PJ Fleck is that guy. But if he does come into the league, I think that his biggest strength, which is recruiting, that's going to be neutralized, with the salary cap and free agency. Nick Saban found that out with the Dolphins. Like, it's hard to win games when you can't have the best players. So the question is, will PJ Fleck row the boat to the NFL? I said never say never. I think it's more likely that he would jump to a bigger program, potentially in the SEC or somewhere down south. But I think as of right now, I think that his style would work. I would love to see it happen, but I understand the Gophers fans certainly want to hang on to him for a while. So how about a Rose Bowl one time and then check out the league? So go ahead and do that. But your thoughts? PJ Fleck, NFL, ? Let us know in the comment section below. Subscribe for daily Vikings takes. Want to support that work? Pull us on the Venmo. But until next time, Skol, production value.